So in this game, I tried using Arlott in the gold lane since a lot of people have been requesting it. And of course, if you want to use a fighter in the gold lane, you have to be the last pick so the enemies can't pick a marksman anymore. But you should also expect your teammates to react as if you're just trolling. Though, I was surprised that my teammates didn't trash talk me this time. Turns out they were the ones who actually deserved to be trash talked because they were so dumb. Honestly, my team was at a huge disadvantage both in terms of skill and hero picks. The enemy team was really good, and they were using meta heroes while our lineup was full of off-meta picks. But for me, I can make it work with my skills even if my hero isn't in the meta. The only problem was my teammates. My matchup in the gold lane was Harith, who is currently one of the strongest gold laners. By the way, I saw a comment saying that Harith isn't meant for the gold lane. What do you guys think about this? Feels like they didn't even think it through. Anyway, what I can say about Arlott right now is that he's really risky to use, especially if you go for a damage build. Playing him in the gold lane is extremely difficult, mainly because the enemy always gets ganked while your teammates refuse to help you, just because you're using a fighter. They expect a marksman in the gold lane, so they don't bother assisting you. It's really frustrating when that happens, because it means you have to land every single skill perfectly. When using Arlott, you need fast hands, and at the same time, your skills, especially your second skill, must always be on point. One mistake, and it's over. If you lose your second skill, you're as good as dead. You need to wait for the enemy to get marked before using your second skill. Arlott's passive marks enemies when they are within a certain distance from him. Also, if an enemy gets crowd controlled while you're nearby, they'll get marked as well, probably within the same range as his second skill. When you use your second skill on a marked enemy, its cooldown resets. That means if you keep hitting marked enemies, you can spam your second skill infinitely, similar to Lancelot's first skill, though with some slight differences. Additionally, if you hit a marked target with your second skill, you'll deal extra damage and heal based on your max HP. I had to play cautiously in this match because Harith was using Purify, which can remove the mark on him. If I time my second skill right as he uses Purify, the mark disappears, meaning my second skill won't reset its cooldown. And if that happens, I could end up getting killed instead. I killed Harith multiple times in this match. I'm sure he's a good player because he's playing so confidently. Even after I kill him several times, he still has the audacity to emote, like he's telling me, "Just wait, I'll get you later." Anyways, want to top up Mobile Legends diamonds easily and safely? Wing Store is now available in many countries, including the United States, and it's even cheaper here than in-game top-ups. So if you want to top up, just select the amount of diamonds you need, enter your ID and server number, and with multiple payment methods and services adapted for players worldwide, Wing Store makes topping up fast and hassle-free. But don't forget to create an account before topping up, because for every top-up, you get a spin on the rewards wheel for extra benefits. Plus, you can collect Wings coin, which you can exchange for even more diamonds. Even though my score was 5-0 and we were ahead in kills, it still didn't feel like we were actually winning. Arlott just isn't the type of hero who can hard carry teammates like these, especially against strong opponents. The enemy team kept securing every turtle, which made things even worse. And to top it all off, my teammates were busy trash-talking each other instead of focusing on the game. Like I said earlier, you can't afford to make mistakes with Arlott because he's so easy to punish. Just like what's about to happen to me with my first death in this game. The moment I pressed my second skill, the mark on the minion disappeared, so my second skill didn't reset. That left me completely vulnerable. I could have escaped, but I decided to fight back instead. I actually thought I could still outplay them. But yeah, you really can't afford to make mistakes like that because it's hard to recover once you die, especially since the enemy team was scaling into the late game and their Joy was snowballing hard. Honestly, Joy was the biggest problem for us in this match. The only decent player on my team was Kagura. She was just okay. I wouldn't recommend Arlott in the gold lane if you're playing solo. Maybe if you're in a duo or trio, it could work. Unless, of course, you're really experienced with him, and you know all his strengths and weaknesses. Personally, I'm still pretty mediocre with him, and I still make a lot of mistakes with my skills. He's just way too risky in the gold lane because he's so easy to punish. On the bright side, though, his burst damage is insane, especially in the hands of a skilled player. But strong Arlott players are pretty rare. He'd also be way better if your tank and mage had a lot of crowd control, because that would let you fully abuse his second skill. Now that he doesn't use mana, you can spam it even more when the enemy is marked. I really feel like Franco and Helkurt were a duo in this game. They were always together, and they kept dying together too. Because of that, the enemy Joy got super fed. And we all know how scary Joy can be when she snowballs. Franco was supposed to counter Joy, but he couldn't do anything. The skill gap was just too big. Honestly, they were the ones who ended up looking like the trolls in this match. Franco's first item was Antique Cuirass. Then he built Dominance Ice as his second item. Almost the entire enemy team dealt magic damage, so why would he prioritize Antique Cuirass first? No wonder Joy kept killing them so easily. This is exactly why knowing how to adjust your build based on the enemy lineup is so important. In this match, the enemy jungler and gold laner were both magic damage dealers. If Franco had prioritized magic defense instead, they might have had a better chance of surviving and fighting back. There it is, he even hooked Lord. At this point, things were looking okay. We had a good chance of securing Lord since 3 enemies were dead. I even checked the bush just to be safe because I didn't want it to get stolen. But honestly, that's something the tank should be doing. I don't like the fact that Dominance Ice is the only viable anti-lifesteal option for defense items. If the enemies dealing high lifesteal or spell vamp are magic damage dealers, the physical defense from Dominance Ice becomes useless. They should really add another item that counters healing but with magic defense instead of physical. That way, there's a better option when facing magic-based lifesteal heroes.
Your team destroyed a turret.
Nothing escapes my...
Even though it looked like we were ahead, I knew this game was over. Harith and Joy were already full build, and we started dying one by one. Meanwhile, Franco was the only one who stayed completely safe. Go figure. At this point, I had no idea why Franco was building Cursed Helmet. For what? He couldn't even stay long in fights to make use of its passive. And to make things worse, he sold an almost completed Dominance Ice, which made absolutely no sense. And there it is, their incredible level of disconnection. Franco wasted his ult on Khalid while Helkurt just casually farming like he didn't see anything. Then, when they had no skills left, that's when they decided to fight. I had a 13-2 score, but our team score was still even. There was definitely something wrong with my teammates. Arlott can easily win the laning phase, but at the end of the day, if your teammates are like this, you just can't carry with him alone. Arlott plays more like an assassin. His job is to pick off enemies. But if you want to carry your teammates with him, you have to play perfectly. That's just based on my experience because my win rate with Arlott is really low for this exact reason. Franco got silver here, which is just weird. It's only because of the Roam blessing, nothing else. And he still built Thunderbelt? Seriously? I can't believe players like this make it past Epic.